This is Abundantly Clear, a Malorie Nicole podcast designed to help you further understand the concept of abundance and put it into practice to build the business and life of your dreams. We'll be breaking barriers of conditioned belief, the standard rules of marketing, and empowering you to achieve real success, allowing you to make a greater impact and live a fulfilled, purpose-driven life with ease. Welcome to the conversation, the stories, the science, and the synergy of living life abundantly clear. Now, on to today's episode.
Welcome back to this week's episode of Abundantly Clear. What do you guys think of failure? Failure is something that's been coming up in conversations a lot when it comes to determining and establishing goals and moving forward. Or the alternative of the way that I like to look at it is more falling in love with the process of what it is that you're doing each and every day. The only failure in my mind is truly when we stop creating, when we give up, when we put it aside, when we don't allow ourselves to create opportunity anymore. Entrepreneurs, you're going to do things that aren't going to work, and that's not only from a place of monetary value and sense, but you're also going to do things that are going to produce you money that might not make you feel good or bring you true fulfillment in the end. And that, in my mind, is an opportunity and a chance to look at, have you created a life that's not only sustaining the money that you want to make, but also bringing you the joy that you want to feel every single day as you show up to your business? I talk to a lot of people that end up creating these avenues and these paths of doing things that they just hate. They don't enjoy doing the action, and they've built these businesses, and there's certain little paths and pieces of it that they're not super excited about anymore. Is that failure? No, of course it's not failure. What is it? It's opportunity. When we look from the lens of black and white, when we have this perception of either I've done it right or I've done it wrong, or I've created something that succeeded, or I've created or not created something that's failed, that's when we have this hustle of anxiety flowing through us. And what we end up creating and what we end up doing is never enough. And it's this lens and this perception of failure as being an option. But what would happen if there was just no such thing? What if the word just disappeared? It's not about never doing something that doesn't work. It's not about never giving something a shot that isn't how you hoped and what you foresaw or thought was going to happen. It's about trying things, doing different things. Some of them are going to work and some of them aren't. And as soon as you look at that one thing that didn't work and deem it as failure, that's when you close the door of possibility. When really the people that succeed in this path and the people that create lives that truly make them happy, they see that door as an opening for 10, 15, hundreds of other doors that could be the exact thing that they were actually trying to aim and go for. And this is something that we have a tendency to get trapped in. We're not inherently taught to look at things from synchronicity. It's either it's working or it's not. But when we start looking at things from synchronicity and, oh, wow, maybe that thing that I tried 6 months ago, maybe it didn't work because this thing 6 months later that opened up, this is what I was actually supposed to be doing. And this partnership was who I was really supposed to be connected with. And now it all makes sense. A door closing doesn't really mean anything other than more doors are opening up. But we have grown up in schools and grown up in a society that's, we're graded on our tests. We've either done it right or done it wrong. Starting off from, being in preschool or kindergarten, you get the stars on the board for doing a good job that day or not doing a good job that day. It's all about, have you succeeded in the moment? And to a degree, that helps children. That helps children create behavioral methods that will allow them to, participate in school and learn and grow. But we still have a tendency to bring these thoughts into our adulthood, and we still look at our business from a lens of black and white, from a lens of failure or success. But it's about the process of creating something that fulfills you, the process of creating something that brings you life, that brings you joy, that brings you the money that you want to make, but doing it from a place that it feels like flow. It doesn't feel like force. And just because something hasn't worked the way that you wanted it to doesn't mean that you're not in flow. It could mean that that's the exact thing that needed to happen in order for you to have that thought or perception or question in your head to be more aligned and drawn to the thing that the universe or whatever whatever you want to call it is trying to provide you for in the avenue that's going to lead you to you working from your highest self, from that fullest expression of that authentic work that you're trying to do. I don't care if you're a coach or a copywriter, an agency owner, or if you build websites, whatever it is that you do, there's always going to be your lane. And your lane isn't always going to look like what you see online. It's not always going to look like how somebody else did something that worked for them. Your avenue and your path is completely accustomed to you because it's yours. That's it. Your job on this planet is not anybody else's job, but your job is to figure out and uncover how you live happily and how you live expressing your gifts and using your creative elements and talents to be a part of this thing we call life. And when we have a tendency to fall into these traps and fall into these black and white perceptions of doing it right or doing it wrong, we limit our creativity when resistance is just a playground. Resistance is the playground to absolutely explore what it is that we're trying to uncover. That's the next growth piece for us. So if something isn't working and it's creating resistance and you're feeling like whatever it is I'm doing isn't working and you've got all this resistance coming up and it's showing up in stress and anxiety and overwhelm, all that is just a sign to explore. What are the other creative elements that you haven't looked at? What are the things that you haven't tried? And maybe you've built something that's working really well for you as far as your bank account is concerned, but you're still feeling that resistance because you're not being honest with yourself about what you really want. You're not being honest with yourself about the boundaries that you want to have with your clients or the type of people that you want to work with. This goes both ways, but anytime there's resistance, I get excited about it because it's a sign. It's a sign that I'm not listening. It's a sign, hey, Malorie, listen a little bit closer because there's something here. There's something here that you're here to learn and that the universe is trying to teach you. And in slowing down and uncovering where is this resistance coming from, it allows for a greater opportunity into expansion. So resistance really results in expansion if we let it, but we have to be careful that our tendencies of looking at that resistance and shutting down the door for opportunity, that we don't get stuck in that cycle. Because getting stuck in that cycle leads us to perpetually feeling like we are not enough. And when we feel like we are not enough, we show up to our business feeling as if we have failed. If something over here isn't working and all these other things, maybe they are working, but we've identified and we've created our identity around that one area of our business that doesn't seem to be working how we want it. When all that is a sign, all it is a little bit of a learning curve to go in and create and expand even more with our gifts and our talents and our expressions of our highest self to figure out what is that thing that I could be doing that I might be avoiding. Is there a little bit of fear holding me back from stepping into being the highest expression of myself? Is there a little bit of fear holding me back from fully stepping into said thing that maybe you've been thinking about for a while? Maybe you've been thinking about doing public speaking and there's a little bit of fear in there. And these doors seem to be closing in this area of your business and you can't figure out why. When really those doors closing are just trying to lead you to the exact thing that you're meant to do. But you're so busy focusing on the fact that those doors are closing that you're not focusing on what doors are trying to be opened. This is very important for entrepreneurs to understand, that this is what cultivates and creates true fulfillment. It's not just about, what's the dollar sign in your bank account. It's about creating and feeling good doing it. Because if you have the monetary success and you don't have the joy and fulfillment, then what is the point? You can have both, and we can have all of it. And it's that dynamic expansion and being able to be expressive about the things that we want to do, and putting our blinders down and seeing what the possibilities are, and knowing that those things that don't work just mean there's room for possibility, because the world is a huge, huge place, and possibility really starts within. And when that possibility starts within, we can create whatever we want. So take this message, and if you feel like there's something maybe you've been slowing down or avoiding or having a little bit of resistance, I encourage you to ask yourself, what is this resistance trying to tell me? Because resistance is always just trying to show us or teach us something. Thank you for listening to this week's episode on Abundantly Clear.
Thanks for listening. As you put these concepts and practices into action, you'll begin to see the benefits of living an abundantly clear life. To connect with Malorie and other high performers, join the Abundantly Clear Entrepreneurs community on Facebook or visit malorie-nicole.com.